Hello, everyone. We are here today with a very exciting guest, Juliette Sicot-Crevet from Firmenich, one of the biggest and most well-known fragrance houses in the world and in the industry. She is the group's VP Business Development, Naturals, and Sustainability, and she's here to answer some of our questions, shed some light on the amazing work that Firmenich is doing around sustainability and natural products, as well as new types of aromatic molecules and accords and bases. And so, yeah, we're very excited to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for hosting me. Very, very happy to have a conversation with you.
Juliette, thank you for joining us today. I'll kick off the first question. How does Firmenich define sustainability?
Firmenich is a family-owned company and today a global leader in the fragrance and the flavor industry. And 125 years ago, we started as an indie company. And we are still functioning with this mindset of entrepreneurship, of creativity and sustainability in mind. Our passion for smell and for taste is driving us, and really sees sustainability as being completely linked to the long-term success of the business. Sustainability is really making sure that you do things in a way that is inclusive of protecting the planet and its people, inclusive of the delight that you are going to provide to the consumers, and at the same time making sure that the client who are going to be getting our fragrances are also going to win. This is an equation which is in the DNA of Firmenich for the 5 generations of Firmenich and the immense organic growth that we have had. So that's the authentic and down to the reality definition of sustainability.
What kinds of innovations and processes has Firmenich adopted to be as sustainable as possible?
It's a great question, and actually it is taken a lot of years that we have been working on becoming sustainable, and we are going to continue to be working to become even more sustainable. And as you said, it requires a lot of transformation and innovation at many different levels into the company, touching many different aspects. It is first starting with having a very comprehensive strategy on what we want to do and having a clear path and commitment to make things happen. This is coming from our corporate sustainability, and here everything is targeted at protecting the nature, acting on the climate change, protecting also the human, and every facet of what we do has to be like that. Every facet means it starts with our ingredients. This is really the core of what we do. It starts about our creativity. It starts also about innovative processes that can be wide biotechnology, that can be also sustainable delivery systems. It's also about getting more renewable ingredients, more biodegradable ingredients, then having also the right tools to measure sustainability is absolutely essential. And EcoScent Compass has this objective, and it leverages data, the digital power to make sustainability happen. Having the right processes to work together in a very different way, because for a perfumer, it is a completely different job that we have to do in this era of conscious perfumery than the way we have been creating in the past years and decades. So it is really across the entire organization, touching many subjects, that innovation and sustainability comes alive, and that sustainability gets improved every single day, step by step, with very ambitious goals that we are setting to ourselves.
Wow.
And as a global leader, with our size and with our scale, this puts an additional responsibility to really do it right. And this is one of the myths sometimes, that we think that large corporation can be better than smaller corporation. And actually, this is not true. We really feel that we have the responsibility to lead the way, to lead the industry, and to work hand in hand with all the actors, including the smaller ones, with this entrepreneurship mindset, which is ours since we were created 125 years ago.
Wow, that's so inspiring. We would love to know more about your Create for Good program, which I think speaks to a lot of what you were just talking about.
Create for Good is one of our latest achievements in the sustainability journey. And we are very happy about the launch of Create for Good. Like we have also been happy in any of our big blockbuster innovation that I'm sure we're going to talk about. Create for Good is completely anchored into the new conscious consumption that we are all living through, not only as experts of perfumery, but also as consumers on a day-to-day basis. It is really meant to be designing the right fragrances that will answer the expectations and the aspirations of the consumer who want healthy and sustainable lifestyle. And you know as well as I do that the theory and the wish and the aspiration is here. The reality is slightly different. And it is actually very hard to behave sustainably. We are all struggling with it. And it's difficult to determine what is sustainable, which products are truly sustainable. Can we be sustainable in all aspects? And it's not a clear cut. How fragrance is expected to contribute to this aspiration, and how can it contribute as much as possible to drive and accelerate the conscious consumption is what Create for Good is all about. And we wanted to really understand the pulse of the consumer, where the consumer is at today, what he understands, what he expects, what are the tensions and the dilemma, and how can fragrance, which is absolutely indispensable in bringing the happiness, can at the same time be a better friend in contributing with data, with claims, with reassurance on the sustainable journey. It requires to adapt the creation process that we have been working with for a long time, because today a perfumer has to think about not only about the olfactive inspiration and really the emotions and the sense, the experience that we want to create, and many other technical aspects like safety, that is a given, the price, affordability is important. But on top of that, the consumer wants things that are very specific. They want to know what is inside. They want to know whether this is renewable, biodegradable, whether it is impacting the planet, and in which way. Is it really respectful of the people that have been working on the ingredients in the fragrance. So this has to be integrated upfront into our creation process in order to design conscious, friendly fragrance solutions. This is what Create for Good is all about. And we have then 5 steps into it. The first step is really to understand what makes sense for the consumer and for the brand, because each brand has a purpose, and a fragrance can have multifaceted expressions of sustainability. So that we can create, we take EcoScent on board in our creation to measure scientifically that the ingredients and the creation is going to be right for the sustainability KPIs that really matter for fragrances, so that we can, in the end, create delightful, trustworthy, and respectful fragrances.
So to follow that up, you mentioned the EcoScent Compass. We would love to hear more about that.
EcoScent Compass is one of the many adaptation and innovation, and it is meant to measure holistically what is the sustainability profile of a fragrance. Because this is not an easy question. Have you tried to answer to yourself, okay, how do I measure which is this fragrance that I have just bought, or this shower gel that I'm just using in my shower is sustainable? And this was actually the starting point, and it is leveraging on all the data points to measure. First pillar is intrinsically what are the green properties of a given fragrance. You know that a fragrance is made of many ingredients, and whether they are natural ingredients, naturally derived ingredients, synthetic ingredients, white biotech ingredients. This is the first thing that we want to know as a consumer, what is in there. That's the question that the consumer is willing to know. So we calculate that, and we have a score for that. The second score of the 3 is what is the environmental footprint of this fragrance? Because on top of what is inside is whether it has been made in a way which is respectful of the resources of the planet. And it's leveraging a life cycle analysis that we have been doing for already a long time across almost all 95% of the ingredients of our palette. And the third score, and the last one, is about the social impact of that fragrance. Has this been done in a way that respects the people that have been in the value chain, whether they are in our own factories, whether they are the natural producers and the farmers when they are natural ingredients, and whether they are also coming from our suppliers who are themselves, with their own employees. And looking at the 3 scores together is helping and guiding to make sure that you are designing and you can improve the score. What we've done is, because this is highly technical data and topics, we have aided and educating the reading of the score by having an ABCD color coding on each of these data points and score, which really helps to see at first sight whether you have a balanced score. Let me explain. If you have B on intrinsic, A and B, you are in your BAB, which is quite good. If you are scoring DDD, it's like when you buy an apartment or where you buy your washing machine, you will probably not buy a washing machine that has a D score on energy. So this is how we are making sustainability becoming mainstream, and we are working becoming familiar on what it takes to make sustainability completely embedded into our day-to-day activities. And our perfumers have these tools at their fingertips, and thanks to that, they are completely augmented in their ability to create with the right KPIs and sustainability in mind.
What role do you believe synthetics play in sustainable fragrance creation?
I think they have a great role to play, and we should not be ashamed to say it. In the end, it's about having the most creative and sustainable ingredient palette to work from. And it is made of a synthetic that are sustainable and that can in many ways be more sustainable than naturals. It's about making sure that our naturals are responsibly sourced and trustable. So this is really the combination of both the best of synthetic in the most sustainable way, in a way that enable us to stay within the boundaries of the planet, and also really having the naturals in the most responsible way possible to offer what is the very special touch and olfactive profile where you really want the natural quality. This is about this equation that I mentioned, which is delighting the senses, because this will be our primary mission in a way that is safe, always, affordable as much as possible for every single consumer to be able to have this experience, and in the sustainable way. And that's what we all want as consumer. And this is, I think, the responsibility of any company, whether a global and a large one or an indie, to do everything possible at its own scale.
So do you believe synthetics can replace the use of endangered species in fragrance creation and production?
I think not only they can, but they have already contributed a lot to do that, and they will continue in the future. And we strongly believe that we need to do all the adaptation, optimization of all the processes to continue to make that happen and define the future of synthetic, because they really offer enormous possibilities and different ways of exploration. Synthetic are enabling us to recreate natural identical molecules, which already exist in nature, as you know. But at the same time, that's the best way to remain within the boundaries of the planet, to not be touching the planet or not damaging the planet, which is so crucial. And when we think about a couple of examples, not only in perfumery, but also in food, if you think about vanillin, without the invention of vanillin, there are many, many things that were absolutely crucial for children in developing countries. We needed to have some medicine, but it was tasting so awful that they didn't take it. It's the same also with elderly people. If they need to have calcium, but it tastes so awful, you need the taste. So this is where it really makes a huge difference to copy the nature and leverage science to protect nature. That's number one. It is also synthetic, and maybe we don't know that enough, or a consumer doesn't know that enough, is in some instances the only way to capture the smell of nature. And when it comes to many of our ingredient blockbusters, like Lily of the Valley, there is no way to get a natural lily of the valley. It's the same with lilac. It's the same with peony. So all of these great floral ingredients cannot be physically extracted, which a consumer doesn't know. At the same time, if we think about the musks, without synthesis, we will not be able to enjoy the musk, which are so much liked by the vast majority of consumers. And today, you know, they are really, hardly liking them. And, you know, having synthetic musk is a way to really protect nature and biodiversity and animals, because otherwise, so it is regulated, which is great. It also shows that regulation is good. But without synthesis, we would have to live without musk, which I don't think we really want to when we ask consumers. And if I push the envelope, then having renewable musk, so synthetic renewable musk and biodegradable musk, is a way really to ensure that we have synthetic sustainable molecules that will be right and safe and enjoyable for the consumer, and a delight for a creator to use.